Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we have with us again David from Time Well Spent Games for a special interview edition.
Hello again.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So this will be our first fancy interview.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh, that's the name right there.
Fancy interview.
MHGG fancy interview.
FFI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we
MHGG FFI 1. TWS.
Can you have a first fancy
FFI?
interview more than once, though?
I don't know, he said FFI.
Okay.
I was just following what he said.
Depends on how
Always
this one
the
turns
follower,
out.
Adrian.
As I believe we discussed in the most recent episode, never an original thought over
Yep.
here. If it's not bullet points or direct quotations,
You're
I
lost.
can't handle it. And hell, even then when it's direct quotations, apparently sometimes it's exclamation.
Yes.
Really?
So, one of my favorite podcasts, the Giant Bombcast, also has separate interview things every once in a while, and they call it the interview dump truck.
I like it.
It's a good name, but we are fancy interviews.
Fancy interviews.
So how do we want to start this fancy interview?
Imagine we're by a fire. We're all wearing like velvet, those dinner jackets. We're drinking cognac.
Cavassier.
Yes. There we
Smoking
go.
cigars.
Oh, yeah. That's
I've never smoked before. What am I doing?
Suddenly wish we were all drinking like PBR, something really shitty.
No.
Just
Why would
because
you
you're
ever
like,
think
oh,
that?
cognac. We're drinking cognac. No, it's actually PBR. But we're actually drinking good beer. Well, except
know
for
what?
Zach is drinking
We're
soda.
Yeah.
We're gonna drink Mickey's out of stemmed wine glasses.
Mickey's, you're drinking it wrong. Good old Atlanta.
Anyway, so David joined us on our most recent episode to discuss Energy Empire and
Many other things.
random ramblings.
Yes.
Because
Sounds about right.
That's what we do. That's who we
What
are.
I do, I drink and I ramble.
That's what people like about us.
Which is why you fit in well here, David.
It's our banter and our chemistry. And we have hard data to prove that.
I really liked it. Like, we've been doing this giveaway for Imperial Settlers. And some of the feedback has really been like, you're not, one of these like formulaic shows with personalities. Like, you feel like real people, which I feel like is code for you guys just get drunk and talk into a microphone.
I'm fine with
To be
that.
fair, we have chemistry together.
We do.
And we have strong personalities, and
Yes.
people enjoy personalities.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
And it
Personalities is
doesn't
part
feel
of
forced.
it. No. We be us.
The alcohol helps with that.
We be
It's
us
a
and,
social lubrication, yes.
and the social lubrication.
Why we do our game nights at breweries.
Yes.
So much.
Because we're really shitty to hang out with otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I have like a $16 tab night. Sometimes I have like a $40 tab night.
Those are good nights.
Those are good nights.
Oh, man. I love Megan for so many reasons.
But there's a but coming.
My tab is 50% cheaper when she is gone. So, game nights are significantly cheaper when she is out of town.
Yeah. It's almost like you aren't paying for two.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Or it just means you can get twice as drunk.
That's true.
Jeff and I haven't worked out a good enough carpool, like,
Well, we got-
alternate
we got-
DD
We
arrangement
got
yet.
Paul getting in there.
Yeah.
So
Every third game night, one of us will have to drive. The other 2 out of 3, we can get real shitty.
I'll just carpool for 2 of them and then Uber for 1. So
That's cheating.
You guys.
drink,
Cheating.
drink, Uber.
Oh,
Anyway.
boy. Yeah, so
this is
people-
supposed to be an interview, right?
tuned in for an interview. David, would you like to actually get to talk tonight? Or
No, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
watching.
this entire random drunken episode was filmed in front of a live studio audience of 1.
we hooked him up to a mic.
So it makes it really awkward with that silence.
I'm gonna copy out that little golf clap you did there, and I'm just gonna loop it, and that's gonna be like our
Applause.
Yeah, we're gonna start to have that.
Canned.
That's
Can't
not going
laugh.
to drive anybody insane ever.
No.
No. I'd say we could probably start this off with David telling us a little bit about why and who he is on this podcast.
Yes.
Why he is
I am
and
who
who
I
he
am.
is.
Wait, what?
So why is
See,
you?
Long ago, my mom and my dad.
Why is you?
We need to come up with a bunch of like really shitty questions like that. So first question, why is you?
I like how you're assuming we don't have a bunch of random shitty questions like that lined up. But no, so David, yeah.
only
So you introduced yourself a little bit at the beginning of our last episode.
Yes.
But in case somebody missed that episode, how about you?
We are the fanciest of interviews.
Yes. Yes. As we can
Real
see.
professionals.
All right. So yes, I a couple decades ago I got into board gaming. The house I was living in had a bunch of roommates, and we kind of decided we'll do a game night. And it kind of started out with the generic games that we don't play anymore, but
Mass market garbage.
Yes.
You don't
exactly.
You don't ever throw caution to the wind.
Monopoly. Anyway, and we had a guy that was actually in the gaming industry, and he brought a couple games. And the first real game I played was the Game of Thrones game, and I sucked horribly at it, but I loved it. And
As did we all.
Yep.
yes,
Right.
and we it kind of fueled that passion. And
Passion.
do you like that?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, since then, after college, I actually had a job, was able to start buying stuff, and bought way more than I should have. And
No such thing.
okay,
No, there's definitely.
well, there's a budget there. There's still a
Sometimes you just don't.
No, as long as you don't exceed your monthly budget, there's no such
there's
thing.
still
that sounds like a too much. If there is, as long as this doesn't happen,
always
it's not too
ramen.
much. That means that
Those-
if that happens, that's too much.
You're fighting about budgets with an accountant. Just so you know.
I see posts on Board Game Geek or on Board Game Reddit, here or there, where somebody's like, "At what point did you decide to start culling your inventory of board games?"
Culling?
And I'm like,
there
what,
so-
what
what
do you,
does that mean?
What do you, what?
Why would I do that? I don't understand.
I've started doing that.
Well, people have dressed it up like, "Oh, I'm curating a collection." Like, no, I'm hoarding a stack of games that will inevitably
Now, I
fall
will
and
say,
kill
though,
me.
there are times when you get a game that you think's cool or that sounds great, and you get it, and then it is awful, and then you trade it off. But you're trading one for one at that point.
I've got a story about that. I actually have one game that is
Enshrined.
it's enshrined as a reminder of always look into games that you're buying.
Do we need to make a shadow box of that game?
Oh, we should.
Right?
We really
so you know the game Munchkin, right? Yeah. So
Munchkin.
back in my Munchkin heyday, like this is right after I went
Like everyone's.
I went to Dragon Con and played Munchkin for 24 hours straight. Sure. I had a 12-person game of
yourself.
Munchkin. Yeah. I went to a game store and I was like, "Ooh, look at this. They made Munchkin into a board game?" Munchkin Quest. Let me just immediately buy this and all the expansions for it as well. And then I played it once and I was, what have I done?
What is this? Yeah.
So it is
You
a
thought
game that
Munchkin wasn't long enough.
it's something that I've kept to be like, always look into these. It's a constant reminder in my shelf of here's $100 you're never going to get back.
Yep.
Although you keep that game as a memento of your mistakes, I have still yet to get rid of a board game. I have Munchkin
I've
from
lost-
4 years ago when I was into Munchkin, and I can't bring myself to give it away.
The only board games I've lost is through breakups. Yeah.
Okay.
The worst.
Runebound 2nd edition. Yeah.
Like video games, once I'm done playing with it, I'm like, I don't need it anymore.
Just like my exes.
Yeah.
Except the most recent one. She's nice. I like her. But the other two.
Most recent
fuck
ex?
'em.
Or
Yeah.
the-
The most recent ex.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a nice girl.
Yeah, she's nice.
Miss her.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thanks for bringing that fucking dagger right back into my heart.
You brought it up.
I can't believe you, Jeff. How could you just let go?
to be fair, it wasn't Jeff.
Yeah.
So, anyhow,
Cry over here into my microphone.
David.
Kind of uncomfortable.
It's just why did it start raining in here? That's the question.
All right, that's a solid Full Metal
onions.
Alchemist reference. Yeah.
Anyway, so
Question
David,
one.
this is an interview. Let's
let's go.
get on to some questions.
So we went through the.
We told you this wasn't going to be an interrogation. We lied.
Yeah.
That's good. The light
Is there any way? Yeah, can you turn that light to direct him?
Yeah.
Here, I've got my phone
Yeah, there you go.
We're just gonna put a space heater and then.
right there, right in your eye.
Can you swing it a little bit?
Pure Kafka.
So it's hard to start where to begin.
Probably with the question.
Show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you now own a board game website.
I do.
What made you think to jump into buying a board gaming selling website.
Okay. Why did you think that was a good idea?
Yeah.
Well, there's so
That seems really hard.
all right. So the original owner, Dave Jones, who we all know and love, announced a year ago. Wow. In January or end of December, I guess, that he was closing. And it was always my favorite website. That was kind of my go-to place to buy games. Loved him, loved the site, loved everything. And just kind of on a whim, I didn't even talk to my wife or anything about it. I just kind of sent him an email saying, hey, would you think about, how do you think about selling? And he replied with, I could probably do that. And it kind of went from there.
I'm assuming you talked to your wife at some point.
To get the money. Okay. Yeah.
So I've agreed to buy this thing. Can I have money, please?
She thinks I work at I work at Kroger.
No,
This never can air, right? Right? That's really what's going on.
Wait, yeah. What's the website so I could tell her never to go there? No, I did talk to her after I had already sent the email, and that's a permanent source of giving me crap from here on out. But he said I could possibly do that, and we started talking, and in April of 2016, it became final, and we took it over. So we bought the store, we bought what he had left, and there we are. We're now doing it. So.
Are you in the same physical location at all?
We are not. We don't actually have a physical location yet.
Okay.
We are online only. However, as we've talked about, local pickups, we still do. I'll meet you somewhere. Or we have a business address in Littleton that's really technically not technically. It is a UPS store, is where we're getting all our business mail. But I'll meet you there for whatever. And
As is the Connecticut tradition.
But the plan, as of right now, is by spring or summer, we will have a storefront somewhere. It might be. Actually, I could do something immediately where it would be very small in Lakewood, super small.
Right.
But that might be what we need to do to get started and get
Something
going.
the size of this kitchen we record in.
About that, yeah. It's
So I do have one request. Can you please be open when I'm not working? Because the last one, the hours of operation was 9 to 5 or whatever, and I always work from 9 to 5 or
Well, you know what?
10 to 4 or something like that.
Zach, you tell me when you need to be there, and I'll meet you there. Wherever I am,
Sounds
I'll
good.
meet you there.
This is our highfalutin connections that we're pressing.
that's
now.
right.
Yes. Yeah. We have dozens of listeners. We control.
That's right. Yeah. Very small cover.
Dozens of listeners, and now a press badge to Gen Con.
Yes.
Nice.
We are.
That's
We're big deal now.
We decided that we would wear it at the same time and
Yes.
shuffle between booths.
It won't be awkward at all.
like Harry Potter's invisibility cloak.
Yeah.
And I'll wear
Yeah.
it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
That sounds super awesome. Who doesn't hate another board game store?
Well,
Yeah,
that's what
definitely.
we're trying. And our focus. We started off focusing on the online, but I think I'm starting to realize that the bigger market and what I really want to focus on is the people locally. So that's what we're going to start kind of.
There's a couple of us.
Just a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denver's got a solid board game.
Yeah.
I don't know what the word I want is.
Are we the biggest group in Denver?
Yes. Well,
We're not. I don't think we're the biggest one, but I know we're the biggest out of the 3 Reddit meetups.
well, no. So unless there's one through actual meetup.com that I'm not aware of that has bigger, we've passed every other one on Facebook that I can find.
The Redwood ones that I've gone to have been amazing. I'm stunned when I go to it.
Oh, yeah.
We've been running 40 or 50 pretty solid.
Yeah.
But the other ones are fairly decent too.
Yeah.
There's the
Yeah,
one
no,
at
I
Park
don't wanna-
Meadows that's fairly decent. But yeah, you guys, it's amazing.
Raw numbers, we kind of kick ass.
Yep.
We are clearly the best.
Yep. We go for the quantity. That's the quantity, not quality. That's our decision.
That's our motto. So, real quick, going back to what you're saying there about opening a physical location, that's got to be kind of a good thing for you too, because I know Asmodee, they don't let you carry
So
their product if you don't have a
We
physical location.
closed the sale in April. April 1st is when they announced that online-only stores cannot order their own, Asmodee North America products. So that was kind of a hit right out of the gate, but we've done all right, and that's the big reason. That kind of we were always planning on getting a physical location.
Right.
It just kind of bumped the time schedule up. So we actually looked at a couple places in November last year and just decided that we just didn't feel comfortable accepting, I mean, because they're all 3-year leases. And we were afraid of going under, and we wanted to make sure that we were able to handle that. So
like not everyone can make it. You have to think about it.
And I think the number one reason places fail is they jump too soon.
Definitely. You're not prepared for it.
Right.
It's like, can I only carry Magic the Gathering?
right.
Well, yeah, a lot of online stores, they're like, we like board games, but like we have Magic so we can function as a business.
Right.
So
Collectible card games.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that has to be a huge Asmodee being like huge and being like, well, you're only a website, no thanks.
Yes. And
they keep buying stuff.
And in January they bought a lot of other now manufacturers, so they went from like a third of the market to almost half now. So it's
well, then it's frustrating because even companies like CSI, like they're huge and they maintain one physical store, so they meet that
I
requirement.
think they have a couple.
They have 5,
actually.
I think.
They have 5?
Yeah.
But that's the frustrating part is the theory is it's protecting the mom and pop brick and mortar stores,
right?
And it's not. It because Cool Stuff and Miniature Market and all those other guys out there have spaces and can
meet the technical requirements.
Meet the technical requirements and then undersell everyone. So
well, and I mean, isn't it like that? Like some of those, the mom and pop ones, like they would have just an online presence, just be like, if you want it, you can buy it here. Right. That Asmodee was like, no, you can't do that. You have to only sell.
No, I think as long as you have a physical location, you may then also. That's my impression as of right now. That
gotcha.
I could be completely wrong on that.
Well, I think it started almost that way.
Yes, but they realized that was a bad model.
Good,
I think.
Good, because it was a bad.
It was, yeah, no.
They got enough feedback real quick that people were like, my local FLGS sells online. Let them keep selling.
Right. Why would you not let them do that?
Okay, that's
well,
good.
and I don't understand that either. Like, why would you limit your own market? But whatever. It is what it is.
Yep.
There it is.
Oh, Asmodee.
Asmodee.
Number 2, Jeff.
Number 2. So you kind of got a pre-built business.
Yes.
There. Which I think you dodged some bullets
many.
of the setup.
There were a few that came with it as well, but yes.
And that is my question. What were some of the challenges in getting handed a pre-built business?
Well, okay.
Here you go.
yeah.
I'm sure it was heavy to pick up.
It was very
Metaphoric.
So, I mean, obviously you have the benefit of the name is already established, and
we would never think hard about naming anything.
Nope, no, we'd never had any problems with it. Yeah, came to us in a dream,
name or a logo or any of that.
No.
A stat, but the number one hurdle we had to get over was first off, well, 2. The biggest one actually was he went through 4 months of announcing that he was closed and closing and going out of business, and then we bought it. And he was good, and he put a little note on the webpage like in February or something, like halfway through the process, saying that there might be a new owner, but he didn't keep any contact lists. I had no customer lists. I had no way to just send out another, hey, we're still here kind of a thing. So
it's like, just kidding, we're not closing.
Yeah, so I had to start from basically scratch, just kind of organically growing that list again, sending it out on Board Game Geek and Twitter and Facebook and everything else, saying, and I still to this day get, oh, you're still here? Like, oh, I thought you closed. Like, so that's probably the number one hurdle we've run over. And the second one was that Asmodee one that hit us right as we opened.
I was going to say that actually sounds like less than 0 because you have to dig up for basically people going like, but they were closed.
But you were
right?
closed. Why are you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Are you just stealing the guy's name or something like that? So.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, for me personally, I knew of Time Well Spent. Mm-hmm. I didn't use it until you took over, and I actually met you physically at one of the game nights. But
hand shucking everything.
But
That's right.
I remember distinctly, hearing about the closing, and it was one of those things where I was like, well, shit. I wish I'd used Time Well Spent. Like, I didn't realize they were here in Denver. They did local pickup. Like, I could have supported them. And then a little bit later, I heard like, oh, they're still going. I was like, oh, I thought they closed. And then it was like 2 weeks later, you came to the first one of our Wednesday game nights, and it was like, hey, time well spent.
I remember that name.
Yeah. And then that's when I learned that you actually bought it. It wasn't, and it doesn't help that it was Dave, and then now still Dave.
That is absolutely confusion all the time. Wait, I thought that was the old owner. Well, yes and no.
There's a new Dave.
A new Dave. There's not. This town isn't big enough for two Daves.
One of my one of my favorite posts on all those comments on Board Game Geek was, the Dave is dead, long live the Dave. I appreciated that.
That's a great one.
Puts the lotion on the skin.
Yep.
Or gets the hose again.
Yep.
But no, now that I know of Time Well Spent more, and like I said, it was the initial closing that put it on my radar.
Right.
The fact that it was a Denver place that was closing, it's really nice having somewhere where right now at least I can get online prices, and
that's my goal.
And local pickup and local delivery. So for a local service, it's fantastic.
That's the plan, is to keep going. And like I said, we have noticed that easily 2/3 of our sales right now are local. So that kind of right there
it makes
shows,
sense.
It helps.
All right, that's what we got to focus on. So
Yeah.
There's not a lot of other big stores, really.
Well, and that's that's
four?
the problem. Like, so I like Wizard Chest. They are just
but they're retail.
they're retail, and they're on the far side of town.
Black and Red has got a huge selection.
Yeah.
But neither one of them have a usable website presence where I can like. That was one of the nicest things. Just for our anniversary this January, I went through and in my bed at like 5 a.m. like ordered like 20 games.
You cracked me up because when you sent me that text of like, yeah, I'm thinking about putting together an order. Could you meet me? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I saw it. I'm like, or you said the big order or something, and I saw it. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It's like, oh my god.
Do you have a pallet jack to carry this?
Don't want to drive an SUV.
No, and that was pretty much your response. Like I texted you, I was like, hey, if I put an order in today, can you meet me? And you're like, yeah, I can do that. And I was like, all right, sweet. Order. Like I had it all filled out. I was still in bed the whole time. and no, but that's one of the things I love. Like you've got a great website that I can find. For that one, I wasn't looking for anything in particular, so I was just scrolling from alphabetical. Like yes, no, yes,
Nice.
yes. But I like a lot of our other local places, but I can't do that from them. They don't have a great catalog online.
That's awesome. Good.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and even when we have a local presence, we will still have the website.
That's
'Cause
good.
I mean, we need to keep that part of it too, obviously. So
Yeah, that's my only problem with Black and Red is like, all right, I have to go there to see if they have anything new.
Let's
mean,
check
that's
the
not my only
Facebook to
problem.
see what new used games they have.
Yep.
I love the used games though.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Like I'm always a fan of the Ding and Dent at
Yeah.
Cool Stuff's booth at Gen Con. I'll take a fucking used game every day.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, no problem with it.
Especially when their ding and dent is the plastic is ripped a little bit. So I have this $60 game for $10.
Aquasphere.
Sphere.
The other problem that I have with Black and Red is the woman whose name I cannot remember right now.
Terra something,
Tara.
yeah.
Yeah, when she's in there, it's great because you
Right,
can
but no
ask
one
her
else
about a
knows
board game and she's
anything.
there.
Yeah.
But if you go in at a time when she's not there, those guys look at you like you're speaking Greek when you ask about a board game. They're like,
I called once to see if I could get. It was like Dominion, not Dominion, Dominant Species, and I was on hold for like 30 minutes while
They're like-
the poor guy went and tried to find it. Like I could tell you exactly where it would be if you would just let me tell you. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, whenever I tell people, you should check this place out, but know that you need to know what you're looking for.
Right.
It's just a jungle of board games and you'll find it. But
I love it so much.
Yes.
it is an awesome
Yeah.
store. No,
Yeah.
there's no question.
they have their unique thing. Like I mean, and it goes with they're not a board game store. They're
Right.
they've got their record section. They've got VHS,
If you need
books,
some used
DVDs.
laser discs,
Yeah.
no, it's
Yeah, it's got a very unique kind of feel to it. I like it, but no online presence, which
That is true.
important
Yes.
today.
muy importante.
Yep.
And then
Number 3.
number 3. So what? I'm going to continue to use the nightmare phrase. What sort of nightmare is it to actually have a website for board games? Like there's cool stuff. There's miniature market. They've got to be a whole different scale. But I mean, having a website.
Yeah. So when we bought the place, we decided we said, okay, we'll get it up within a month. So I think we put it up in May. We bought it in April. We were like, okay, by May we want it up and running. So we picked a service because, online sales is totally different than just having
A website.
that lists everything, because you've got to have the security, you've got to have the credit card collections, you've got to have some processor, you've got to have. So we found a place that would do that and let us kind of self-build it right off the bat. And of course, I did a little bit of web development like 10 years ago, which is basically dinosaur
You know nothing.
age.
You know less than nothing.
Exactly, right? So I knew nothing going into this. So I did it, and we opened and thought we were looking pretty good, and inevitably we got this slew of holy crap, this site sucks, and this, and you have to go through all this, and you have to. So that was our biggest growing pain, was getting the site to the point where most of the people were happy. I mean, you're never. I still to this day get like, well, I don't like this. Well, I can't change that, or I can't, but
Can't make everyone happy.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
People don't want us to talk about Denver weather all the time. Well,
yeah.
Or sports ball.
Yep.
Well, that's done now, thankfully.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Wow.
The pain is
Patriots.
over. I won $2 on that game.
That was a game where I really felt like I had no dog in the race.
Yeah, no, I didn't either, really.
It was a good game, though.
It was a great
fantastic
game.
Super Bowl.
It was.
It ended fantastically. My favorite part about that Super Bowl, and I'm sorry because I think I've already talked about this, and I know listeners get tired of football talk. My
Not
favorite
just
thing,
listeners.
not just listeners. I loved and this is one of the things going into the game. I was like, well, if the Falcons win, it's their first Super Bowl, yay. That's exciting. And the Patriots lose, which is yay exciting. I was like, but if the Patriots win, which I thought would happen, I get to see Roger Goodell have to give Tom Brady the trophy after suspending him for 4 games for deflated footballs. And I got to see that. And then I got to see Roger Goodell immediately hightail it the hell out of there.
Didn't he get booed off the station?
There was
You couldn't hear him speak during the presentation because he was getting booed so loud.
so
And then he handed off the trophy, and then he disappeared, and nobody ever saw him for the rest of
turned
the
into
presentation.
mist like Dracula.
It was great. But yeah. Anyway.
My favorite part of the Super Bowl was playing Oracle of Delphi. So, yeah.
What do we? You played Catan on your fancy metal version.
Yeah, I got to play Catan, and then we played that shitty card game. And then afterwards, we played Snake Oil, which was a lot of fun.
It was.
Booger Patch.
But yeah, we had people
Third
over
reference
for
to that
games.
now.
Alcohol teeth. Is that right?
Tooth alcohol. That was for a witch.
And what was your one you had, Zach? Some kind of snow thing?
Oh, so
The designer drug?
It was for a rapper, and I had Urge and Snow, so I came up with a designer drug.
Nice.
Urge Snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fun game, but
So board game websites, they're real hard to do.
Yes.
turns out,
Yes.
Websites in general, I think,
Websites in
are
general.
harder
You're never
than
gonna
people
make.
appreciate.
So yeah, we went from his old site, which was all text
Yep.
and not good. I mean, there was a lot of complaints about that, to one that was better, I think. But even then, you still have people that complain about, well, it's too flashy, or it's too this, or So
Well, I know because I did end up buying one thing from him. I ended up buying Twilight Imperium 3rd edition. But when I saw your new your website, I was like, oh, this looks a lot better.
well, thank you.
yeah.
That's good to hear. 'Cause-
Yeah,
I don't know what the old one looked like, but this one's fine.
It was all text.
yeah.
It was all.
all text all
You
the
had to
time.
know what you were looking for,
Yep.
basically.
That reminds me of the War Store from my old 40K days.
Probably.
Before Games Workshop was like, no more online sales.
Yeah.
Which, that's brutal.
So, I don't know.
Words.
Words.
So, next question.
Number 4.
Okay.
Number 4. Competition in this area has to be tough.
Very.
I mean, you have to deal with some of the biggest out there with anyone buying. There's an Amazon distribution center getting built this winter.
Yep.
How do you leverage what you want to do versus competition with some of these big guys? Because, I mean, it's a small... I mean, we're in the same boat. We're a tiny podcast trying to play against people with
It's
30,000
tough.
listeners.
It is
Yes.
incredibly, they, and the big guys out there can sell on pennies on the dollar. And if I were to try to match that, I'm making nothing, especially when you have to throw in lose money on shipping or whatever. It's how they do it. I don't know. But all I can do is match the best I can. We do a price matching. We had to modify that a little bit. But it's, we match the best we can. And, every time we put something in, I look at what they're selling it for and I see how close I can get to it. And we go from there. So,
okay.
Which, I mean, that's one of those nice things. Like, before I knew of Time Well Spent, I've been buying board games now for about over 4 years now.
Sure.
I would typically jump online and I would decide based on the game.
Mm-hmm.
Do I want it now?
Right.
In which case, what's my FLGS offering it?
Do I want it at
Or
Gen
am
Con
I-
for $100?
Oh God. Or
Occasionally.
hey Zach, here we just bought this $100 game for you. Now pay us $100, please.
Thanks, Ant. But no, so
Snap decision.
so I'd look at Amazon and see what they're offering it for, like a 2-day ship through my Prime program, or what FLGS is offering, and I decide like how bad do I want this game? Is it a game that I want to play like right fucking now? In which case, I'm going to drive to my FLGS and buy it.
Well,
Or-
and I'll say there have been at least a couple times where I've been with him and he has his phone out. Like we're at Black and Red, he has his phone out and he goes,
I've done that multiple
It's
times.
worth it right now.
I usually, the only time I really do that is when we're doing the anniversary and I've got like $600 and I'm trying to get as many games as possible,
quick as possible.
for for a good cost. 'Cause-
Right. Well,
Yeah, and
I get it. I mean, cost is the bottom line.
Yeah.
I mean, loyalty counts for a little bit, but when you're looking at a $100 game that you could buy retail at your local mom and pop brick and mortar or pay $65, it's a judgment call at that point. And most people will go the other, go with the cheaper route. I mean, it's finances, especially this time of day. I get it. And which is why we got to we're trying to make it as close as we can, but
Right.
Well, and then so that's where the nice thing with Time Well Spent, especially this past January, buying all the games for our raffle, your prices were, I felt, very comparable to other online retailers.
Well, and we're trying to keep that. I mean, that's one thing he always did was he was very close to it, and we're trying to maintain that. And sometimes we can, and sometimes we can't, and it is what it is. So,
I know I personally don't mind spending a little bit extra to support somebody local, especially because I get that convenience of I can get that today,
Right?
Yeah, sure.
versus
Sure.
waiting 2, 3, 4 days.
But there's
Sometimes
a
it's a
limit.
difference. I mean, like if it's $3 difference, like
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right, David.
there's a limit.
There is a limit. I mean, if I have to wait 2 days to save $30, that's an entire other game.
Right,
It's
exactly.
hard to
Yep.
balance that.
Yeah. And that's the problem with once you go online, you're competing with all online
Everything,
stores.
everyone, yeah.
Whereas, like you said, local ones, you can be like, oh, well, that one's a little bit cheaper, but it's a lot farther away. I could get this now. But online is usually, like you said, usually a lot of those big ones they all have, $100 shipping and it's all about the same. So it's cheaper here. I don't have to look at someone and go, I'm going to buy it somewhere else.
Right.
So
And Amazon's the killer.
Oh,
'Cause they
yes.
all, that you do the Prime thing and you get free shipping. So that's the killer price that we always have to beat.
Yeah.
Because
That's-
they can get it right then. Like,
Amazon's not getting any smaller.
no.
No.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's surprising is that, like, at least, in the hobby, I've, like everyone's like, oh, buy it cool stuff, buy it whatever. But then you actually look at the numbers and just how many more people buy it from Amazon than any of those, like, combined. And you're like, that is crazy.
Well, that's the frustrating thing, not to
No.
beat a dead horse, but that's the frustrating thing about the Amazon Day thing is that, they said no online except Amazon. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no.
God, and then
And they had to. I mean, you
Yes.
can't say no to them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I get
but-
it, but it's...
but you can.
Well, here's the thing, though.
They're the biggest board. They're for hobby games. So not counting Hasbro and
Right.
Mattel.
I think they're second now, actually.
And
Yeah.
that would not surprise
Yeah.
me.
No.
They could. it would hurt their bottom line a little bit.
Well,
but if
you know
they're
what-
legitimate supporting the hobby, and that's what they said this whole thing was about, was supporting mom and
Right.
pops, they could say no to Amazon.
They could, but 1 out of every $2 spent online is spent on Amazon.
Yeah.
And they, like you said, you want to do it, but then
I don't blame
Well,
them
yeah.
for a second, but
So-
they can't say that they couldn't do it because they could.
So my background comes from I for the last 20 years or so I worked in the scuba industry, and they did the same thing. You can't do anything without having a shop because you can't get certified. You can't learn how to do it without having a shop. And the shop's bread and butter is the gear. So they had the same issue of we have all of this gear that we can sell, but we can't sell and we can't match the guys that are online that are only selling the gear. So they have no bottom cost, they have no overhead, they have nothing. And the industry kind of backed them, turned around and said, okay, well, to back them, they tried you can't sell online. And that didn't work because people would still go buy online. I mean, that's just what you do because it's cheaper.
yeah.
Just be like, click.
Right.
I have a tank.
Exactly. And they decided, well, okay, that's not working. So what we're going to do is we're going to put minimum pricing. And if you sell for less than that and we catch you, you no longer get our stuff. We will no longer ship to you no matter what. So, I mean, that worked better for them and it helped everyone. But my 2 cents.
Yeah.
that's a big dog to ignore.
It totally, yeah.
I've seen a couple scuba stores in Colorado, and I don't really understand them.
Apparently, this has the largest number of scuba
Per capita.
Per capita, yeah.
Yep.
It's weird.
There's actually some decent scuba in Colorado.
yeah?
Yeah.
It's like reservoirs or something.
That's about it.
Okay.
Reservoirs,
Decent
some
is-
caves.
Yeah.
Is there caves?
No, well, maybe.
Some.
Not that I know of, but
I mean,
maybe.
there's above. Do you just like scuba suit and then you just like walk into a cave? Like,
I'm pretty
This scubaing is great.
yeah.
No, the majority of the scuba industry comes from learning to do it here and then going
To the
somewhere else.
Bahamas or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I just want to start asking
People don't-
about scuba stuff.
People
is now a scuba
people don't
podcast.
book skiing vacations here. They
You're
don't
right.
spend a week. They
Yeah.
don't book a week vacation in skiing. They go somewhere else. So
Yeah,
that's where
that's
it
true.
came from.
So I just have to know, why are there so many here? Any particular reason?
I don't know. I would say the only reason for that would be because first off, it's a very active state. So when you go somewhere else, that's something else to do, and there's a lot of money here. I mean, it's a very high tech industry, state.
Right. Otherwise, okay.
Otherwise, I have no freaking idea.
It's a mystery.
It is. Yeah.
Sounds good. Magic. I'm just going to say magic. Magic answers everything. So.
Everyone's very active, and
Yeah.
active people like scuba.
Yeah.
And
And
those,
magic.
And those people that can afford scuba can afford to fly somewhere to scuba.
Also true.
There you go. Yep.
Number
5.
Keeping everything in stock seems to always be a problem for really everyone.
Everyone ever.
And pretty much, like, how do you best balance that new hotness, because no one can ever know, versus how much you can actually keep in stock?
Yeah. No, that's the number one thing that I have to deal with every day.
Surprise, everyone wants this game.
Yeah. So, I thought I knew a lot about this industry. Well, about the gaming hobby market, being a hobbyist, and no, I knew nothing going into it because
Much like Jon Snow.
yeah, I know nothing. Exactly. Yeah. The hardest part has been, you see things that come out, and there's multiple things every week that come out and are released.
Oh, yeah.
And
Don't we know it?
yeah, the first couple months were me tempering my own preferences. Oh, that looks really cool. I think that'll sell well, and it doesn't. And
Everyone's going to want Vinos.
everyone's going to want that. Yeah,
Sell
Everyone
two,
should
and they're
want
both
Vinos.
Adrian.
And nobody
yeah, right.
wants Munchkin.
I
so-
feel that they're failing me and not buying it, but
Right.
no. So I learned to temper myself, and okay, well, I have no interest, but
You got to follow those
that
trends.
seems like that might be. But the problem is, where do you find that trend?
Yeah.
And I've found a few resources. The Board Game Geek is the number one that I use, but
You look at that hotness and you're like,
I
that's
look
high
at-
up there.
And someone has actually started a geek list there of, here's the most wanted. stuff,
Gotcha.
Which has been awesome.
That's-
And
oh,
there's
I'm
another
sure it
one,
does.
There's another one that's who's created the top sellers, and so there have been a lot of those that have been helpful.
Right.
Without a crystal ball, there are things that I think even now of like, oh, that's been hot in the past, or, from Stefan
Right.
Feld. He's hot. Let's get a bunch of those, and nothing happens. with
Right.
it. And then I get others that I'm like, well, all right, I'll give that a shot, and I'll get a couple of those, and they sell out instantly, and now I have, so.
Right. Has there ever been times where, and I I don't really know anything about this, but is it like when you're buying from them, buying from publishers and stuff, is there anyone like, yeah, you can buy those, could you also buy these here? Or
the reps have been pretty good about, well, this is really selling, so you might want this. The problem that I've found is that they're going off of what other retailers are buying,
right?
Not what's actually selling.
Okay.
So, I can keep up with that, but that doesn't mean that it's going to sell.
Right.
It's reading the crystal ball of the mass populace out there of what are they going to want, kind of thing that has been.
Yeah. And then it's like, how much is how much of a burden are games that don't sell for you, like versus I know like actual brick and mortar shops right now, that's prime space that they need to have something on there, whereas online it doesn't seem to be as big.
It's not, other than the fact that it's just dead inventory.
Right.
It's dead money
right.
that you have spent money on, and you have to then try to figure out a way to get rid of it.
Sales.
Oh yeah. Oh no. And we're gonna start doing a kind of a weekly. Here's what's on sale this week and kind of stuff. And we're doing a lot of conventions, like we're doing Genghis-Con this week.
Nice.
So we're gonna be there, have a booth, and we'll have a for sale bin that's going to be things on massive discounts and stuff like that, just to try to get rid of them, because we can't.
Yeah,
it is. While it takes the space isn't an issue.
Right.
It's the monetary. Well, we just spent $30 on that game. I need to get rid of it somehow.
Right.
So
that makes sense. Yeah, I know a lot of times when I've seen Cool Stuff Inc. sales, I'm like, I think I can guess why these are on sale.
Yeah, and that's. I will say the number one thing that we did wrong, looking back, and actually the old owner even told us this. We bought his remaining inventory,
right?
But it's stuff that survived a 4-month fire sale.
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
But I was thinking, well, it'd be good to have kind of a starting base, and let's do that. And he even said, he's like, yeah, but none of this is going anywhere. And he tried to warn me, and I didn't listen. And that's my biggest concern. Now, my biggest regret now is that we didn't do that.
Gotcha.
And that was a fairly big chunk of money that we could have spent on the new hotness.
Right.
We could have ordered.
Adrian, what we need to do is the next raffle we do is like a reverse raffle where we get a bunch of crappy games, and it's like you buy tickets to not get them, to not take them.
I can absolutely help you out with that.
Which, I mean, honestly makes it even more impressive that you gave like 3 really good games to the raffle.
Well, but those were all things that, again, I just totally misread. There were things that I was like, oh, this should do well, and I got a bunch of them, and they're still sitting on my shelf. So that's where that came from.
All 3 of those were games where I was like, wow, I wish I could be in the raffle because I would take all 3.
You want one of them?
Pictures, I mean, I like is cheap. I could get it anywhere, but like, I've heard good things about both Jorvik and Burano.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Meh.
noises.
See. Number 6.
Number 6. How do you actually deal with all of these companies? Asmodee's pretty much taken over a lot of stuff, but you haven't had to really deal with them yet. Right. But there's 1.5 billion other ones.
Fortunately, I have really good reps with all of the distributors that I have. So there's, I have 4 different good reps that are really good, and they help me manage it.
That's good.
Yeah, they're awesome. So I spend a lot of time on websites. I spend a lot more time on Board Game Geek that I never thought I would. I thought I spent too much already. And
don't we all?
That's not my day to day.
Are the reps more local, or are they like?
No, they're all over.
They're all over.
Okay. Some are St. Louis, one's in California, one's in Washington. Yeah, they're all over.
Oh wow.
They're awesome though. They help me. So, I'll send them a list of what I want, and they'll obviously, whatever I order, they're happy to sell me, and then they say, well, but you might think about this too, and
gotcha.
This is coming out, and this is coming out next, and so, because if I had to deal with all of the publishers,
it'd be impossible.
It's impossible. There's a couple that I deal with personally, like Bink Inc. that did the Trekking National Parks, and a few others that I deal awesome, and they're with locally, or not locally, personally. And they're awesome, but it's very limited.
It seems like every week you turn around, there's some new publishing company with absolutely. A new Kickstarter.
Yeah.
They're all trying to start their own thing. So
right. Have you ever done any of those? Because I've seen some Kickstarters actually have retail, retail pledges. Have you been doing those?
I have. I haven't gotten any of them yet. But I'm still waiting for them. Okay. Yeah. Yokohama's one of them. Nice. The Feudum is the other one that I've done retail on. The rest of them I haven't again, it's one of those that I think it could do well, but unless I'm positive, I'm afraid of jumping in and
no, it makes sense because
investing that money that I may not get back.
Yeah, I know. Like when we do Kickstarters, luckily I haven't really had a problem with it, but it's like, oh, well, I just lost out on one bad game. Whereas you're like, I've made an investment and it did not, it petered out.
Well, and even more so, like it's one thing for me to order one copy of a game,
Yeah, exactly,
and have my money tied up for a year, like it was with Black Plague. If you're doing a retail pledge where you're buying 5, 10,
right.
And then that's tied up for a year, like
a lot of money sometimes.
Yeah,
it adds up quick. Yeah, it's so
every time that you see one of those delay emails, you're like, those assholes.
God damn it, you.
Yeah.
So along the same vein of the distribution, what
is this number 7? Or
I guess it
or 6B,
6B, 6B. Once you know what that new hotness is, how difficult is it to keep it in stock? A lot of times,
it's very hard. So things like Scythe are impossible.
Oh, I bet.
Scythe has had. So you were talking about the 8% one.
Gloomhaven. It's like,
Yeah.
how many copies of Gloomhaven are you going to get? Like, do they just cut one in half and then like
based
send you
on that,
one?
yeah,
And then
I
like
might
another
get
person?
one. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get the box.
Well,
of
if you get one, Jeff here.
Yeah,
Never mind the actual 10 people who pre-ordered from you.
Yeah. Oh, I don't do pre-orders anymore for the simple reason of Scythe. I got burned on bad.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
because what happened? Well, I shouldn't say it. What happened is I
Just
ordered.
fucking
Just
put
torch
those
them.
nails in the coffin of that relationship.
Right. So I ordered in what was it, June or July?
As did everyone.
Like 12. I ordered 12 copies.
Right.
Okay, thinking that should and I put them up for pre-order, and they all sold like within a month.
Right.
And then months and months and months went by, and the first round came out, and I didn't get any. And people start saying, well, where's my copy? What's going on? Second printing comes around, and I get one. I'm like, okay, well, you can have one. And now the rest of them. So I had to send out a thing. I'm like, I'm not going to, I have no idea. And most of them canceled, which is not a big deal, except I had to pay certain processing fees and stuff.
Right.
So it didn't end up losing me that much, but it was enough that I was like, well, I have no idea when this is coming in.
Right.
So it became a waitlist thing of,
Oh yeah, waitlist would work good for that.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of moved to. But so yeah, that one, even now, I still haven't received all of the 12 that I've ordered.
Oh wow,
I'm still waiting for them.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I'm afraid that's what's going to happen with their new one, the
Charterstone.
Yeah.
Well, I know he's not doing Kickstarter.
He's not doing a Kickstarter.
He's not doing pre-orders.
He's not doing.
Yeah, but
But individual resellers can do pre-orders for their. But then
and I've already got them on
know-
order.
Yeah.
But again, who knows what they're
how
going
many
to
you're
do?
gonna get.
What they're going to do? So we'll see. And the bottom line is,
Don't use PayPal because that might.
Oh yeah.
Stay away from PayPal.
I mean, the good news is that whatever I order will sell. So
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
too concerned about that one.
That'll happen.
Keeping the hot sellers in stock.
Right. So, but there's another one, Cottage Garden,
Yeah.
that is only available as an import. And that was one thing that the old owner was really good at, was that he would always get the imports in.
Gotcha.
Before you could. It was available locally. And so I've been doing really well with that one. And that, but it's one of those that I got some in thinking, well, we'll see what happens. And I didn't
Shot
know.
off the shelf.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, well, we'll reorder. And those shot off the shelf, and we reordered, and they shot off the shelf. So it was a trial and error.
Yeah. I've heard a decent amount of people really like that game.
Yeah. No,
especially
I
the
want
theme.
one, but I can't afford keeping one that I get in.
Right.
so
Yep. I heard somebody pick that up to publish and
Yes.
cover
Yes.
U.S. distribution.
It was in Stronghold.
Stronghold.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
In June, I think.
At Gen Con, I gave him a beer.
Nice.
Yes, I remember.
Jamie.
No, it was a Bonnecore.
Stephen Monacore.
Stephen
Oh,
Monacore.
Okay, yeah.
We were just talking about Stonemeyer, which is Jamie Stegmeyer.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right. Okay.
But he was dressed as a monk.
He was dressed as a monk for the dragon and the
Dragon
flag.
Flagon, which was right across
Oh, sure.
the hall from where where pirate board gaming Pandepic.
Yep.
Gorilla.
Gorilla
board gaming.
Gorilla board gaming.
And
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it was an epic sour IPA, I think, and he liked it, and then he just walked away. And I'm like,
Yeah.
cool. And then Adrian's like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, I just talked to Stephen Bonnecore for a while and gave him a beer, and you're just like, son of a bitch.
Damn it! Why was I playing board games with my girlfriend?
I was too busy sweating to death in
were.
a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the other thing about the import thing of, okay, I can sell the crap out of it right now, but at what point are people going to be willing to pay now as opposed to just wait, kind of a thing? Because when I bring it in, because it's an import, so I have to pay whatever they cost plus shipping to get it here, so it costs more than it will be when it. So now it's a balancing act of, well, it's doing really well, but at what point do I stop doing it? Because at what point are people going to stop saying, well, it's not worth that much money?
And that sort of cuts into another question I had of like
7 or 6C or 6B1.
Not really, more of a 7. More of a 7. As a smaller retailer, you're able to specialize more. Like you can kind of go into that niche and be like, I want to sell to this niche. And sell to this kind Nietzsche. I want to sell to this person. Have you looked into any of that kind of stuff?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. I know that's one thing that like Fun Again's doing. That's they're now kind of a redistributor for a lot of the Kickstarter stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't feel I'm there yet. Like what the old owner used to do a lot was he was very good about, and he even said, he's like, that's my bread and butter was the import market. The problem is, in the heyday, even 2 years ago, or even 2 years ago, that was a valid business market or model because at the time it was, okay, this game's coming out, but it's only available in Germany and I have to get it. And there's no word on it coming out locally.
Right.
But it might come out in a year, but I don't know. But now companies have kind of wised up to saying, oh, we have this whole US market that we can, why are we ignoring it? And now there's a difference of months. So it's not nearly the keystone that it used to be.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, I was listening, so Heavy Cardboard went to Essen for the first time this year, and Edward interviewed a bunch of guys out there, and, like, one of the ones was Steve Monacore from Stronghold, and he was out there because he was meeting with German designers who normally only release in Germany, looking for good games to bring to the States. Like, so U.S.
Pegasus
publishers are
Cottage Garden. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening there. Yep.
And then also with Asmodee also buying up a lot of space out there too.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
that was one of their more recent purchases that we talked about in one of our news segments. Was they bought up a bunch of German and Spanish, like Spain Spanish distributors and stuff.
But didn't they? It was just basically that they were like, well, we had all these people distribute it for us. We're just going to buy them up, so it's really still us doing it.
Yeah, they were all people who had worked really closely with Fantasy Flight, and so it was basically a secondary round of the Fantasy Flight buyout.
So I also had another question, sort of tied to some of that. Do you? I haven't been on your website for a little while. Do you sell like accessories and stuff at all, like decks, deck boxes or sleeve? Not yet.
A couple things, but no.
Okay.
Just because money's so tight right now that we kind of have to pick and choose and decide what's really going to sell. As much as I would love to just carry 10 of everything or 20 of everything, I can't do that right now.
That makes sense.
So unless I know that there's a market for it, I have to kind of pass on it.
Gotcha.
So, but but the dream is, at some point, we'll have all that.
So I'll give you a hint. You should start buying Broken Token stuff, so that way this guy, you just keep buying that.
Do they distribute to anyone?
No.
Or are they only sell on their
Not
website?
that I'm aware of.
Okay.
All
right. Just buy for cost. And
But I'll
sell to me for
contact
cost.
him, and maybe we can be the exclusive.
Or reach out to the Game Trays guy that he recently started up his 3D molding of Game Trays. That's fairly new, right?
Oh, yeah.
Game Trays hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
Get exclusive rights to sell his stuff
That's
online.
not a bad idea.
Just go ahead and do that real quick.
Just
I'll get right on
We'll
that.
wait. We'll wait. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll say 5 minutes. That should be more than enough time. We've got his Twitter. Everything's good.
Wrapping it up to the last question.
Number 8.
Number 8, the final question.
Dun dun dun.
Of Jeff's.
Nope. He already said final question.
Final question.
That means we can't ask how to reach him or anything like that.
Yeah,
Last thing you get to
you
respond
just got to
to.
guess your way through the rest of what we're asking. Yeah. Just start talking. We'll be like, wrong. Wrong.
That's not what we want to know.
Future. You want to set up the physical area and expand and do amazing things. What do you?
and exterminate.
Yes, you want all the 4 X's.
Yes, absolutely.
your end dream of where you want to go? Which I'm sure everyone knows off the top of their head.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd love to have multiple locations and just
Keep everything in stock all the time.
absolutely be
You serve Amazon.
Amazon and all of them, cool stuff and all of them. Yeah, put them all out of business. That's my plan.
You want
a monopoly.
When people hear the name Jeff Bezos,
We don't say the M word.
when people say the name Jeff Bezos,
Subsidized.
you want them to think David Reed.
That's right. Yeah, no, I short term have a store, and just be able to make a living at it. That's the plan. So
That's the dream.
that's a dream. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Spread as many games as possible out there.
Well, I think from my albeit somewhat limited experience even in the local markets, you've been doing good. I
appreciate
know
that.
you've been doing stuff down with not Cardboard Republic, Board Game Republic.
Yep. We're there once a week. Well, we try to be there once a week, but yeah.
Yep, you've stopped by our game nights. You reach out. You supported our anniversary party with some donations, and we got your cards out there. You gave our group a promo code on your website, which is awesome. We really appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
Hopefully, people are taking advantage of it.
If you too would like that promotion code, come to game night sometime.
Yep.
Yes,
We will
won't
whisper
announce
it
that on
into
air.
We will whisper it into your ear.
We'll tattoo it on your.
Yeah.
But no, and I think that's a very strong area. Like I said, you've got a website. The other local places don't. I can jump on there like just now while we were recording. I jumped on there and was like, oh shit, you have this game that I didn't even know was actually at retail.
Yep.
I knew like Kickstarters were delivering for it, but I didn't know it was available at retail. And if I had my credit card right next to me, I would have ordered it by now. But that'll
And
wait
then you
till
just
after
like,
recording.
I would like this now, please. You're right in front of me.
I hope you have this in your car, sir.
I have a really big car.
You just hand them your credit card. Give me the game.
Throw money at him.
But no, and
It's
with
like the bookmobile. Just have a game-mobile.
so no,
There you go. Next step.
Hey, food trucks are really
there you go.
food trucks are working, man. You get the game trucks going.
There you go.
just pull up to a bar.
You're actually not the first person to suggest that to me.
It's crossed my mind before.
Yeah. I hope I'm not the last.
But no, like I like what you're doing as far as getting the business out there in the local community. Like I think that especially the way things seem to be trending nationally, people are looking more to how they can support local businesses and things. So most of our listeners are local, and so hopefully they will keep an eye out.
I'm hoping
Yeah,
so.
definitely.
Like I said, that's kind of our new focus is getting there.
Otherwise, what was the point of coming on?
Right, exactly.
Certainly
We will
not,
be getting an invoice.
certainly not the pleasure of listening to our drunk asses.
The
ramble
free
about
beer was
bullshit.
pretty good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you want to be a guest, you get at least
do
one
get some-
beer.
At least one beer.
If
yeah.
you come to Denver, none of that. We don't serve beer over Skype.
I mean, we can try, but it's just gonna
not gonna
fry
work.
out the microphone.
Right,
It's just,
Someone's going to need to buy a new laptop.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
yeah.
So I'm not nearly as thought out in forefront as Jeff, who had a nice list of things.
Definitely
in the
true.
news. He's our interview guru now. Apparently, that's
Interview
official. after one interview.
Fancy.
Yeah, it's a fancy interview.
No,
I've already texted CJ to get different music for our interviews.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I was like, just do the same music.
Is it going to be fancy?
he's got like
I said, do the same music, put a harpsichord in it.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
fancy.
Yes.
Hopefully it gets it to us by Wednesday.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
No, so a couple. These are mostly questions that have kind of come to my mind throughout this thing that I just want to touch up on. So, going back, you mentioned you're not doing Gen Con this year.
No.
Hopefully next year.
Not
But
as
you-
a store. We may personally go,
Oh, okay.
but
Well, that makes sense. But you're going to be at Genghis Con this
we
weekend.
are Genghis Con this weekend. The only other one that we have scheduled right now is Malcon, which is more of a sci-fi steampunky one.
okay.
We tried it last year and it worked really well for us, so we're
that's
going to
good.
give it another shot. It's kind of smaller one, but it works. So we did not get into Comic-Con this year. We tried, but we didn't get in. But that's all right. You know.
Gotta imagine
So,
Comic-Con's
it's a tough
nut
one.
to
Yeah,
crack.
you gotta.
That's Denver Comic Con, by the way.
the Denver Comic Con.
Yeah, San Diego Comic Con.
Yeah.
You didn't get in this.
They
year.
just
Maybe
laughed.
yeah.
San Diego laughed.
Laughed and laughed and laughed.
Well, considering the Gen Con just apparently hands out press badges to any idiot with a microphone.
Yep.
We just have to get him an exhibitor one, and
Yep.
then
Yeah.
makes him buy us all the Terraforming Mars expansions that'll
Yes.
be inevitably coming out.
Yes.
I haven't gotten the base game yet.
No one has but me, really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, personally, I do, but not.
Oh, okay.
The store has not.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, because Stronghold just started selling them through their website directly, which was a huge blow to me considering I've got 2 copies on pre-order from CSI.
I'm sure those are a lot cheaper than Strongholds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
70 MSRP.
Yeah, that's something else.
That's a
Mine were
complaint we've had before.
40-ish.
And we'll have again.
Anyway, conventions.
Conventions.
People going to them and not going to them.
So aside from, you know, those are the 2 you're going to as time well spent.
Right.
What about you personally? Any other ones you're going to try and hit this year?
I'm going to try Gen Con. It's kind of not a great time of year for us this year. We've been trying for years to get there. So if not this year, absolutely next year. You know, Comic Con, but that's not really gaming. But,
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah. PAX I'd love to go to. BGG Con next year I would love to do.
You heard about PAX Unplugged, right?
Yeah.
What's
yeah.
PAX Unplugged?
You didn't hear about PAX
No, I didn't hear about PAX Unplugged.
It's
I could have sworn we talked about this on the show.
I don't know.
No.
But basically, they're doing a board game specific one, but
Yeah.
it is happening the exact same weekend as Board Game Geek Con.
As
I don't care about
BGG Con.
BGG Con.
No, I know.
BGG Con's in Texas. PAX Unplugged is going to be in like
It's somewhere east.
Pennsylvania or
Yeah.
something.
Oh.
That's the problem with all these cons. Is they're all kind of the same time. It's
That's
just
why we want Gen Con to move to Denver.
So,
just move to
oh
Denver.
man, I'm pushing for it hard
Yeah,
with my tiny voice.
Tiny microscopic voice.
Geek Way to the West is mid-May in
Okay.
St. Louis. That's only
Okay.
a 10-hour drive.
yeah.
Only.
Only.
I'm going.
yeah.
And then Heavy Con, and then
I'm going to Gen Con. That's it. I
I'm
don't have time for all these other things. I got to work.
Yeah.
trying to
have a
decide.
job.
Oh, so do I. Trying to decide between maybe Origins or BGG Con. I don't know which one.
I don't think
seems-
that's gonna. I don't think that'll work for me at least.
Well, that's fine. I'll go without you guys.
Yeah.
I'll be the sole
But
face.
board game stores and websites and stuff always have big presence at
Yes,
cons.
they do.
They do,
I
yeah.
love shopping at cons.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
If you can get in, that's.
I mean, I can get in.
Well, I think they just frown on me bringing in a bunch of sack of games in and just set up in the corner.
Just start
I think they'll have a
hawking
problem with
it.
that.
There's always that corner by the strip club.
yes.
You just start selling them
Terraforming Mars,
actually
Terraforming
on the street corner.
Terraforming Mars.
You'll
It's like,
you'll
fuck
get.
yes, I want to buy Terraforming Mars. I don't care how shady you are or what I got to do in that alley.
All I have
I'm
to
gonna
say
get that
is
copy
that
of
is a
Terraforming Mars.
humongous trench coat that you're wearing.
Yeah.
Hanging out by the strip club. Hey, you want that new hotness?
Yeah.
It doesn't burn, but it's hot. All right. Well, I think.
On that note,
Yeah. Woo. It's been.
You're gonna have a fun week,
It's
Adrian.
been something. But no. All right. Well, so yeah, I think we're at a pretty good spot to wrap things up. David, thank you so much for coming on.
thank you.
Real quick, again, how can folks get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
So yeah, website is timewellspentgames.com and the email is info@timewellspentgames.com. Telephone number 303-973-6327. So,
Right on.
And your sweet slogan.
is any time spent playing games is time well spent.
Which I couldn't agree with more.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can get a hold of all of us. I'm on Twitter at MHGameGuys.
I'm Zach_MHGG.
I'm Jeff_MHGG.
We've got Facebook.com/Mile High Game Guys, Instagram/Mile High Game Guys, Board Game Geek Guild 2731. We're kind of all over. So
Pretty much any of your social medias that you wish to use, we are on.
We have a small middling presence on.
and
yes.
if we're not, send us an email
At emails@milehighgameguys.com.
and tell us where you would like us to be, and we'll try and be there. Keyword
like,
try.
I mean,
like online.
Online.
I don't want them to be like,
oh, no,
Portugal.
yeah.
No, well, I travel internationally like once a year. So if you want me to come to Portugal, tell me, and I'll try to come to Portugal. I'll try. Operative word try.
I can promise you I will not be going to Portugal this year.
Yeah, probably not.
All right, well, that wraps up our first ever interview episode, the
Fancy interview.
Fancy Interview with David from Time Well Spent Games. David, thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, and thank you everybody for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Fancy Jeff.
And we'll catch you guys all later.
Bye.
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 Bye.